What up guys, and welcome to another Cardano NFT market update, the video where I go over the biggest news happening in the Cardano NFT space, as well as what I'm personally doing to help navigate the market. But yeah guys, without further ado, let's get into it. First things first guys, how does the overall volume look like when it comes to the Cardano NFT space? And I can happily say that it is actually different for the first time in months. Instead of hovering between this 300 and 500,000 ADA level, this past month we've actually been seeing significantly higher volume, or in this past week in general, going anywhere from about 500,000 to a million ADA, with even one day on June 19th being 1.6 million ADA. Now I know Tappy's came out from Taptools and that was a huge volume mint. They were able to get a lot of volume in a short amount of time, but it is nice to see a 50% increase in overall volume. And even when you look at the overall chart guys, you're starting to see us go up a little bit for the first time after being sideways for months and months and months. Now as far as the impact goes on NFTs, I do think a lot of these NFTs have found their bottom for the most part, unless ADA continues to go on a decline like it has. But a lot of these projects, guys, have started to slowly go back up. You had Ape Society at 5,000. Now it's at about 6,000. Claim Nations got all the way down to about 1,800. Now they're at 2,150. Even Space Buds had gotten down to 1,800. And I know because I was able to get a Space Bud at 1,800. And now they're around 2,300. That being said, guys, a lot of the money is still flowing into some of the larger projects. But a lot of the smaller projects have stopped going on a decline, with some of them even starting to rebound, which is nice to see because I know it's hard for a lot of projects out there, especially ones that are a little bit newer are getting started or that were really born in this bear market. As far as where I see Cardano NFTs going in the short term, it's really hard to know, guys. You have so much happening in the macro economy, and even in the macro crypto economy, things have been absolutely insane with everything that's been going on. Whether that's ADA being a security, whether that's BlackRock, as well as Fidelity and a lot of other major investment banks that run the United States coming out with Bitcoin spot ETF request, or even when you look at the EDX, the new crypto exchange that's coming out by some of the top banks and players out there. It's a really interesting market. So it's hard to predict where Cardano NFTs are going. It is nice to see a little bit relief and a little bit less decline. I still think that a lot of people in Cardano NFTs are kind of here to stay at this point, and they're just kind of waiting till the next bull run. And then we still aren't really getting too many new people to the Cardano NFT ecosystem. Now, what's interesting, and I'm about to cover it, is that Cardano DeFi has absolutely been blowing up, and I do think we've seen more volume flow out of NFTs into Cardano DeFi. But usually in this situation, guys, if we get super greedy in the market, you'll start to see that money flow back into NFTs that are a little bit more speculative and a little bit more limited in supply. Now, the reason I wanted to bring up DeFi as well, guys, is it has been popping off on Cardano. Even though the NFTs have kind of been a little bit boring and not too much going on, the actual DeFi side of things of Cardano is finally getting that TVL boom that I've been saying ever since I started this channel. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been preaching this TVL boom for a long time now. And if you check out DeFi Llama, you'll actually see that the TVL in terms of ADA is at an all-time high. I think it's like 550 million ADA is locked in these different DeFi protocols. And a lot of them, guys, in this past 30 days, even the past week, have been going on absolute tears. And I want to stress that it's important to be careful and take profits on these different tokens in this ecosystem. And I know a lot of people watching, it might be your first time getting into these different coins. Remember to take profit. Remember that these absolute rocket ships aren't always sustainable, but also remember, guys, we've been calling this for the longest time now, and we're pretty much seeing this sort of thing come out, and the market caps of a lot of these coins are still super small when compared to the overall market cap of Cardano. So I think a lot of these coins are going to continue to run warranted, Cardano not being delisted from everywhere and other external stuff that we can't control. But outside of that, I think a lot of these are going to continue to run. And one of the big focuses that we have in Jellycubes or the BIG right now is trying to find these next ones, trying to find the ones that are going to run. I'm still the most bullish when it comes to ADA as well as Indy. These are the two that I like holding for the long term the most, but there's a couple other plays that I've been getting into here that I think are going to do well. As far as what my personal strategy is in this market right now, guys, I'm minting the occasional Cardano NFT project. I'm occasionally getting into these different swing trades, even though the opportunities are pretty thin. And instead of focusing as much ADA or as much money into the NFTs, I've been focusing more money on getting into some of these different plays, as well as going really heavy on the IUSD stability pool. So what's really cool, guys, is right now there is a token on Indigo called IUSD, which is a stable coin, and you're able to get roughly 80% APR on it right now, which is nuts, especially since I'm so bullish on Indigo token in general. And I made a whole video if you want to learn how to open up a CDP, but what's really interesting, guys, is you don't actually have to open up a CDP and hold ADA in case ADA goes down, or worry about getting liquidated if ADA goes down again, but instead you can actually swap tokens and swap your ADA directly into IUSD. And in this situation, you don't have a 2% fee for closing your CDP. You're not worried about liquidations. And on top of that, you're still getting that crazy APR without being exposed to ADA if you're bearish on ADA. Now, this is what I personally did. Make sure, though, guys, that you realize that there is a decent amount of price impact if you're putting a larger amount of IUSD, and you're going to get hit with this not only when you buy the IUSD, but when you sell it. So right now with 10,000 ADA, you're getting less than 1% impact, but all of a sudden, if you're trying to do 100,000 ADA, you're going to get hit with 1.87%, and that's on both ends when you buy and you sell it, guys. So just be aware of that, but I am personally doing a decent amount of IUSD just as I wait to see where the market goes. And then I also went a lot more heavy into Bitcoin, because usually Bitcoin is the first crypto to run in these different bull runs. You also have the halving coming in April of 2024. And for me, I want to be a lot heavier on Bitcoin while at the same time getting these consistent gains on Indigo right now. And then as Bitcoin gets more dominance, maybe towards that 70 to 80% level, right now we're at 50%. That's when I'm going to look into getting into some of these altcoins out there a lot more heavier. I'm talking about Cardano, I'm talking about Ethereum, I'm talking about Arbitrum, or maybe some of these other major altcoins, Polygon, some of those. And then as things get even more risky or even more greedy in this next bull run, hopefully, that's when I start getting a lot more heavy into the NFT side of things and some of these smaller projects. That was a pretty fast summary of what I'm going to do. And I'm honestly going to make a video talking about, basically everything I said, but a little bit more detail and explaining why I have the crypto strategy that I do. But without that, let's just get into the top 10 biggest movers of the week for Cardano NFTs in particular. And at number 1, we have a new mint called Mulga Kongs at 1.2 million ADA worth of volume. Number 2 is going to be Tappy by Taptools, another new mint coming in just under 500,000. We then have Chilled Kongs, which has some juicy information. Ape Society at 4, Earth Node at 5, Oremob at 6, Clay Nation coming in at number 7 at 116,000, Cardano Crocs Club at 8, Magic Kongs at 9, and then Cornucopia's Land Sale coming in at number 10. The first project on our list is a new mint, and this is Mulga Kongs. They minted for around 100 ADA in the public, and I think around 85 ADA for the whitelist. So they're going for a little above 2x right now, and the actual amount of listings for this project has dropped significantly. They were at around 26% listings, which was crazy, and now they've pretty much cut that in half. Now, the main aspect of this project is Mulga, who is the artist of the project, is pretty well known in Australia. He's got nearly 50,000 followers on Instagram, and he's had a lot of different brand deals. And essentially, he created this different art that was now minted, and this is more so just an artistic and brand-based project more than anything, guys. They are going to get integrated into the Quickverse by KWIC's project, and they are going to be able to get that quick token, but those things aren't out yet, so we don't know how much actual value those are going to add. And as far as other aspects on the roadmap, we don't really know what's going on. Now, they did announce this Tiger Mint, which is going to be a free airdrop to every single one of these Mulga Kongs that aren't listed, and that is going to happen sometime over the next month or next 2 months is what I'm guessing. But yeah, cool project overall. I like the art. I have a couple of these, but I'm not super crazy bullish on them right now, just because a lot of these art and brand projects kind of lose their steam and momentum if there aren't new things coming out. And I think this is more so Mulga displaying his art and partnering with Quick in order to get this out there, in order to get this sold, rather than him investing a ton of time into really growing this project. Now, we'll see what they end up doing, but I'm more interested in this project after 3 months once the hype winds down. And that's where I might get in a little bit if I believe in the long-term overall brand and IP play when it comes to Mulga Kongs, which I think they actually do have a lot of potential. But right now, I just bought a few at around 160, 170. I'm going to hold these for now, and I'm really just playing the waiting game to see if they can maintain that floor price after the hype kind of calms. Next thing here is going to be Tappy by Taptools, and they actually surprised me with how much ADA they were able to raise in this sale. It was looking a little iffy at first with their floor actually going below mint price, and then on top of that, there was all this stuff coming out while this was going on, but I'm actually very impressed with how high they've held their floor, and I think it's because the utility of having Taptools Pro is so needed. I got so used to it with all the different meme coins out there, and for me personally, I needed to buy one just to be able to access this tool. Now, I'm surprised with how many people, with how high this floor has been held, because these Tappies aren't the greatest investment as far as a long term. And the reason is because these Tappies have a 420-day life expectancy when it comes to their Taptools Pro. Now, I know they're going to have different utilities and different things that they're going to add to them as time goes on, but you kind of have that time decay where the main utility of the project, which is Taptools Pro, is basically declining every single day, which in my opinion is declining the actual value of these Tappies as well as their long-term evaluation as far as an investor. Now, you can own 5 of these in order to get the lifetime, so you're talking a little bit over 3,000 ADA in order to get the lifetime, and maybe that's something I do, but right now I think this is just one of those projects where it's great to own one, it's great to get that utility and hopefully make more money and get more value out of it. As far as buying a bunch of these as a long-term investment, that's not really my personal strategy. Next thing here is going to be Chilled Kongs, and Chilled Kongs had some crazy news. Basically, they did their whole Magic Kongs mint, they raised a bunch of money, they hadn't really done much with the project, and you guys know from watching my channel, I haven't been the most approving of the project managers when it comes to Chilled Kongs, especially since they had everything going for it. They had the royalties, they had the mint revenue from the new Magic Kongs mint, they had an amazing community, maybe one of the best communities on Cardano, and they never really did anything with it. So they basically came out and sold the project to Boss Cat Billionaire, who's a known whale in the space, who probably has tens of millions of ADA and just sweeps different NFT projects out there. And he's also the founder of Epoch Labs. Now, I don't really know what he's doing with the project. I think a lot of people inside the community would have liked Ron or Arctic Alpha or some of the big names in Chilled Kongs to take over the project instead, but they sold it to Boss Cat Billionaire for I don't know how much ADA. Now, supposedly they're going to come out with a new roadmap, new white paper, new website, new staking mechanism, and all these different things. So it'll be interesting to see how well he's actually able to run this project, since a lot of people really don't know who he is. And I don't know if he has experience running an actual NFT project. So I have my eyes on it. I bought a couple Magic Kongs today while these were going on a massive run, simply because people were freaking out and they went from like 350 ADA all the way up to like 800 ADA, and now they're at 600 ADA. So I bought a few Magic Kongs because they were a little bit cheaper and hadn't ran up as much. And I'm just going to hold them to see how this plays out and to see how the community reacts. But yeah, I'm just glad that they have some new owners that are running the project. I feel like this project was kind of getting neglected for a while now as far as the project management side. So I hope that they can kind of turn things around here. Next thing here is the Ape Society, and they actually came out with their whole entire Levi lending platform, and I'm actually glad that they came out with this. This is something we've needed for a while and was something that I was actually trying to get built. It's a whole long story about that, but I'm just glad that something like this is in the ecosystem, and a lot of people have really liked just how smooth this is, where you're able to lend out on these different NFTs, make some revenue if you wanted to borrow, lend out ADA, and you can also borrow ADA and use your NFTs as collateral. So it's been used a decent amount. I think they had over 1 million TVL already with some of these different projects, and I'm glad to see it doing well. Next thing here is going to be EarthNode. I've talked about EarthNode a decent amount. It's kind of one of those long-term plays that always get into the top 10 because it only takes one sale in this market to get into the top 10. I don't personally own any right now. I think there's probably better ways to spend your money, but I do think that if World Mobile Token is successful in the long term, that these could be pretty lucrative as far as an overall investment. But right now, I'd rather take that 73,000 ADA and just put it into Indigo Protocol and make 80%. That's just me personally. Next thing here is going to be Clay Nation. And the big thing that happened with Clay Nation recently, guys, is they came out with this image of their Clay space. And what's kind of cool, and I'll play this video, you can see your different character. You can see these different shirts as well as pants. And I think their pants sale is finally going to happen soon. You can see their 3D avatars. They've been doing a lot of teasers when it comes to their actual metaverse that they're building here. They just had their Ledger drop, which was absolutely huge as far as branding. They only sold 500 of those. So it's pretty insane that they made that whole entire partnership. But yeah, I have a feeling things are finally going to start cooking up with Clay Nation soon. I think it's probably better to pay attention to that Clay token that's not even in the top 25 tokens right now, guys. I think it's sitting at around 25 ADA or 0.025 ADA. I would pay more attention to that coin rather than some of their NFTs, because I think a lot of this stuff, at least the pants and different things in their pictures, are going to require that coin. I had actually sold out of my Clay token, but I'm looking to get back into it now that I think things are starting to spice up. Next thing here is going to be Oremob. And the big thing happening with Oremob soon is that you're going to be able to burn their cases, which was an airdrop to them, in order to get a casing on these different Oremob. And there's going to be 40 different casings. It's going to happen sometime in the month of July, I think is what the message said. Maybe within the next 2 months, to be a little bit generous. But yeah, the whole entire casings are going to be able to go on these Oremobs, and you're going to be able to burn one of these to go on it. So that's kind of the big news that's going on with them. Next thing here is going to be Cardano Crocs Club, and they've been holding around this 1,000 ADA level pretty well and still maintain a low listing percentage. They recently announced these whole entire USD C4 as well as C4 Croc bonds, where you're able to get different APRs, up to 20% APR on these different tokens they have. And I'm very curious how this actually works. On this image, it shows that you have this bond. Net Technology is kind of the company in this whole entire ecosystem that they're trying to build, and they're able to generate funds with this after you give them these different bonds or you give them these different funds, and then they're able to pay these investors back with principals plus interest. And they're saying that it's backed by the actual digital assets and offline assets of Net Technology LLC. So it's interesting how they're doing this. I've got to see how it works. Right now in my mind, I'm like, dude, 20% on a stable coin, which is USD4, USDC4 is a pretty big promise. So it's interesting to see how this actually plays out and how they're going to make sure that everything is actually going to be able to be paid back if a lot of people end up doing this. I know it's said it's backed by their Net Technologies, so maybe I just need to learn a little bit more about what they're doing there. Next thing here is going to be Cornucopia's land. And as I was saying in the last video, guys, Cornucopia's has been getting a lot more attention recently. A lot of bigger sales have been happening with their domes and land, so it's worth having on your radar. I don't know how far out their game is, but I know people are beta testing it right now. And once a lot of this stuff goes live, you could see a whole entire run on these different lands and on these different domes. Right now, I haven't went and bought any, but if I was to buy stuff, I would be more into the small commons, as I said in my last video, just because it's easier to get out of if you at some point want to sell it. If you're someone that wants to hold it long term and take advantage of the staking benefits and all the different gamified aspects, that's where you maybe have to price out and figure out where the best value is. But for me, getting into something like small commons is the easiest to get in and out of. Next thing here is going to be Mocossi's, and this is another project that I brought up last week or whenever I made my last market update video, and these Mocossi's have been cooking. I haven't actually dived into their game, but I've been seeing people make a ton of money off of these Mocossi's, so I definitely need to do a little bit more research here and see what's going on. And what's absolutely ridiculous with Mocossi, guys, is I really do believe they are building and have built more than any Cardano NFT project. Like more than Ape Society, more than Clay Nation, like they have built more than anybody. And they have a whole entire team, I think in Vietnam or something like that, that is used to building out these different games, and they've honestly been killing it. So I need to pay a little bit more attention to the project. As far as different Q3 updates, they have their ITO2s and their boosters. So you're going to be able to introduce sleeping and farming boosters. I mean, there's so much that's going on here. They've got these different messages that are motivating. They've got their Moshi token. They've got this lucky wheel. They have this whole entire player versus player card game coming out. They have crafting. I mean, it's just ridiculous. This PvP pack drop, like, it's just ridiculous everything going on in this ecosystem. And if you're someone that has more time to actually play the different games or like rent out your Mocossis to these different guilds that are playing the games, supposedly the passive has been pretty good. And then they also have all this other stuff. So definitely have this project on your radar. I haven't gone in and bought any. Like, I literally don't think I have a single Mocossi right now, but when I say they're on my radar, they're definitely on my radar. Next thing here is Stag Alliance, and this is a project that we actually partnered with our Season 2 mystery chest. I think I brought that up in the last video as well. And since then, they've actually gone on a run from 100 ADA to 200 ADA, which is awesome to see. I love what these guys are doing. They have this whole entire rating sort of setup right now where you can level up your XP by doing these different quests that's on this other site. I think it's like Sealy or something like that, or Zelly, something like that. And you're basically able to get all of this different XP. And based on your XP for helping them raid, you're going to be able to get these different rewards such as portal passes, stags, Jellycubes, Mocossis, Mallards. They have a bunch of different rewards for basically playing on these leaderboards. They also have their portal event happening soon. And like I said, our mystery chest is actually coming out on July 7th, and they have a decent amount of whitelist to give away for that project as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see what Stag is doing. I bought a decent amount of these stags, and I think their whole entire gamification process and what they're building is going to be pretty dope. So this, in my opinion, is kind of a sleeper pick. Now, we did put a decent amount of these stags into the next mystery chest, but definitely have this project on your radar, guys. Next thing here is going to be the Mallard Order. And the same thing is pretty much going on with the Mallard Order. They're making the UI UX version of their Discord RPG game. They have their whole entire canvases. They've already done 35 canvases with their whole entire Printers Guild. And then as far as their Raiders Guild, they're going to go into that beta for invitation holders sometime in the next month, most likely. I still like Mallard Order for the long term. I haven't scooped up any more as of right now, but I did buy 3 for the upcoming mystery chest because I think this project is here to stay. And I just pulled up I don't even know why I pulled up their Twitter here, guys. Maybe it's the 35 prints. I don't really know why I brought this up. But yeah, something pretty interesting to pay attention to. Next thing here I wanted to quickly bring up is, of course, Jellycubes. We actually went on a little bit of a run recently. I think in like the past, and let me just pull up the analytics here. Oh my God, they got rid of the analytics. I think it's because the jungle thing. But regardless, we had actually gone on a run from like 1500 ADA all the way up to about 3000 ADA. Now we're back down to 2500 ADA. As far as things that are coming up soon for us, we have this mystery chest event that I was showing you guys earlier, or in my last video, where you have the whole entire Season 2 mystery chest. That's happening on July 7th, guys. And then on top of that, we have a lot of stuff cooking, but it's going to be like 2 to 3 months. So in 2 to 3 months, I'm really excited to share all the different things that we're cooking that are all going to be coming out around the same time. But in the meantime, we have these fun mystery chests. And in the group, we're really paying attention to DeFi, so are trying as much as we can to pay attention to DeFi. So if you're looking into getting into some of these plays and you want other people to chat to, definitely pick yourself up a Jellycube. Now, the next project here is Mutants. Mutants, as far as new news has come out, they're actually taking 60% of all the revenue generated on their platforms and buying back their mutant token and destroying it. They also said that there's no purpose right now to have any crocs, toad, or mice. All of the utility is now going to be with their mutants, where you have to combine 2 of those previous mutants, as well as like 500 mutant coins, which is like 10 ADA, in order to get this new mutant. You also have a lot of stuff coming with them soon. You can see there's Cardano raffle improvements. There's this whole entire mutants marketplace. They're trying to do EVM raffles, which I believe is going to be for like Polygon and Ethereum. And they also have their holders platform, where you're going to be able to get different analytics on what's happening with these different mutants, also keep track of their token. And it looks like you're going to be able to go in their marketplace and buy different customizable traits for mutant token to spice up your mutant how you want it. Next project here is going to be Goombles, and Goombles have actually gone on a run from about 90 to 95 ADA all the way up to 165, and their listings have actually been going down pretty significantly as well. This was another project that minted at a pretty bad time and had something like 25-26% listed, so it's nice to see that listings finally go down. And as far as a little bit of a game update, their art has really started to come together. Like, I think this actually looks like from a game. It looks really cool and it fits in the overall IP and brand they're building. So I'm glad to see this happen. And I think they actually delayed when they're going to release the final 5,000 Goombles, which is a really smart decision because I think right now would be a really bad time to do so. So definitely keep them on your radar. Next thing here that I accidentally deleted, guys, was Pond. The Pond NFTs, they're like 140 ADA right now. The reason I'm bringing them up is their V3 of Lending Pond is supposed to come out sometime in the next week. And this project was literally above 1,000 ADA for a while and is now all the way down to about 100 ADA. So I actually scooped some of those up in the past week, and I think that can be a sleeper pick. Now, I know Levi from the Ape Society is going to take a lot of attention from this V3, but they have different features that are not on Levi, and I think it's at least worth paying attention to, especially since it's so low compared to where it's at. Next project here I wanted to bring up was Her Monster. And the reason I'm bringing up Her Monster is they actually have their Foxy Fight Club coming out sometime soon. We don't know the date, but they've been doing a lot of teasers for it. And you're going to be able to battle your different Her Monsters with other gangs out there. And you're going to be able to get their token, as well as have all these classes and gamification. And they even did collabs with ADA Inmates and OTK and a few other projects out there to make this Foxy Fight Club experience even cooler. So definitely something to pay attention to. One of the last projects I'm bringing up here is going to be ADA Inmates. This is a project that went on a massive run all the way from 200 ADA to 700 ADA, and now it's had a pullback down to 385. And a lot of the catalyst, what happened, guys, is they came out with their whole ADA Inmates Island where you can make those posters and you can start earning their Smokes token. So the big thing, like I said, with this project, guys, is you're going to have to see how they can use that Smoke token to give it value. But the fact that this whole entire ecosystem is already built out is really dope, and it looks really good, guys. You can connect your wallet on a wallet that has some ADA Inmates, mess with your posters, craft different things, and it's honestly very well done. So shout out to the Yupple team for doing a good job at that. Next thing here is Danketsu, and I wanted to bring up Danketsu because I always forget to bring these guys up, but they are an OG project, and they're actually building something pretty interesting called missions. Now, they already have missions for the current Danketsu out there, but basically what happens, guys, is you're able to lock your Danketsu into a mission that has this lore and gamification process for it, and then after a week, based on your skill points or your combat score or your strength points, whatever you want to call it, you have a chance of actually completing that mission and earning their Ninjas token as well as XP, and you can use these different Ninjas tokens in order to buy consumables and increase your odds of completing a mission. But what's really cool about it is they're opening up this service to other projects out there, and we're actually going to be one of the projects with Jellycubes that are going to leverage these missions in a really cool way that I haven't seen anyone do before. So that's one of the things that's exciting in a couple months for Jellycubes is this whole entire gamification process that's going to be very unique and very fun. And one of the core aspects is this missions platform. And what's cool is any project that basically wants to use this missions platform has to sweep these Danketsu or pay them a certain amount. So it's a pretty cool sustainable business model that they made that also drives engagement. And I love projects that have services to other projects. Now, the last project that I wanted to bring up here is our guys at Bravedogs, and these guys are my dogs, no pun intended, and they're actually having their mint coming up on July 5th. They're going to do a pre-sale mint. I don't think all the mint details are out there yet, but definitely pay attention to the project, pay attention to what they're dropping. These guys are absolute grinders, and I think that they're going to do a very good job as far as an overall project. Not only did they redo the art with the Spacebud artist, and I think the art looks really good, but they're a team of 2 talented devs that's going to build out a lot of different tools in their ecosystem, and they're going to have a revenue share model on a lot of these different tools when it comes to their holders. And they're actually the guys that we're main partners with when it comes to our mystery chest, and they handle all of that tech, which was a super complicated process. So I have no doubt that they're also going to build a lot of different tech for their actual community as well. And they already have a whitelist pre-sale platform. They have a mint calendar, and they have some other stuff that they're cooking on top of the mystery chest that we've been doing together. And they even did collabs with different projects out there. This is the Jellycube collab where they made a Jargarian helmet, which is really cool. But yeah, pay attention to them. I think they're launching 1,000 out of like 5,000 NFTs. So it's going to be a pretty limited drop for this first one. And if you're someone that wants some mystery chest whitelist spots, I think they're even incorporating that in their whole entire mint process. But yeah, that's enough of this market update, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. It was a lot of different information to unpack. But I hope you guys found some value in it and found some value in these market updates. So it's pretty fun making these and like showing, basically keeping you guys all updated. So I hope that it's been a valuable resource, especially during this bear market where you might not be as active. So hopefully this video can kind of, keep you up to date a little bit better. But yeah, that wraps everything up, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.